Aloha, e como mai. On this episode of Frontiers, we're going to take a trip across the Pacific back to the Aloha state of Hawaii. When I travel, I like to try and get away from the major tourist hubs. There's nothing wrong with a major tourist hub. There's a lot of fun things to do there, and I enjoy visiting them. But if I have the time, I like to get away from them to try and find out the story of the local people, the stories behind the stories. Once in a while, however, you find the stories behind the stories right in the middle of the tourist hub. Honolulu is a great city. It's an exciting place to be, and there is a lot of art and culture there. Everything from the Ala Moana Shopping Center to some fine dining, to Aloha Tower, to, of course, the beaches. But hidden in plain sight right in the middle of the city is the Bernice Pauahi Bishop Museum, commonly called simply the Bishop Museum. Designated as the state's history museum, the Bishop Museum contains the largest collection of Polynesian artifacts in the world and will take you through the history of the Hawaiian people right in the middle of Honolulu. Charles Reed Bishop founded the Bishop Museum in honor of his late wife, Princess Bernice Pauahi Bishop, last descendant of King Kamehameha the Great's line. Princess Bernice passed away in 1884. Now, of course, she brought into the marriage numerous royal artifacts. Charles Reed Bishop wanted to make sure those artifacts were protected and displayed in honor of the Hawaiian people and his late wife. The Bishop Museum itself is a bit of an artifact. The primary building, which contains the Hawaii Hall, Pacific Hall, and other significant galleries, was built in 1898 in the Richardsonian Romanesque style. This style is endemic of Victorian-era architecture, right down to the interior layout of the Hawaiian Hall. This hall features old-fashioned glass cases sticking out from the walls, creating alcove after alcove. Today, these cases are, of course, lit with LED lights and climate control to protect the artifacts, but the floor plan and display layout allows visitors a chance to experience how 19th century museum goers experienced touring such an institution. Just as an interesting side note, the koa wood making up the cases is worth more today than the original museum buildings were in the 19th century. Like many of the ali'i, or nobles, Princess Bernice had been deeply involved in raising the standard of living for her people. Her final act was a bequest in her will to found the Kamehameha School for Boys. Charles Reed Bishop had the museum built on the original school's campus. The Kamehameha School later moved to Kapalama in 1940, a move which allowed the museum to significantly expand over the years. Visitors enter the museum in a great portico or foyer, whose centerpiece is a grand staircase. This foyer will connect visitors with the Kahili Room, the Hawaiian Hall, Pacific Hall, and numerous other galleries. I recommend you begin exploring in the Kahili Room. Kahili are tall, feathered standards of the ali'i, or nobility. The size of the kahili, along with the colors and types of feathers used, identified the ali'i's rank and station in the island hierarchy. This room is a good starting point because it tells the story of the Hawaiian monarchy, from Kamehameha the Great to Queen Liliuokalani. This helps orientate visitors to the cultural touchstones of the Hawaiian people. Once you've familiarized yourself with the chronology of the Hawaiian monarchy and the general influence they had on Hawaii, I recommend you go to the top floor of the Hawaii Hall and spiral your way down. This will give you an interwoven narrative of Hawaiian history, culture, and religious beliefs, while letting you start your explorations by coming face to face with a whale of an artifact. Palaua is the Hawaiian name for the sperm whale, a species the native Hawaiian people relied on for centuries. And the first artifact that usually catches museum goers' eyes is a full-size model of a palaua swimming through the air near the ceiling. This animal is only a half model. Go upstairs and look at its opposite side. You'll see the beautifully articulated skeleton of an adult male sperm whale. The skeleton came to Hawaii from New York in 1901, and it's the first specimen to have been installed in the Hawaiian Hall. The palaua's lifelike skin was carefully crafted from paper mache, with the exhibit being completed by 1902. Another striking artifact sailing through the ocean of air is a wa'akalua, a double-hulled fishing canoe. This canoe was commissioned in 1908 for the Bishop Museum. Built of koa wood from Oahu's Moanalua Valley, the wa'akalua was completed in 1912, allowing museum visitors a chance to examine the sturdy seagoing canoes native Hawaiians braved the oceans in while fishing. There's an interesting cultural note about the construction of the wa'akalua, or any canoe for that matter. The lashings holding all the components together are considered sacred. This is because those lashings held all the components together, thus ensuring the survival and safety of the people out on the oceans. Two towering wooden ki'i, or images, stand guard over the ground floor. One is Ku, the god of war, who is also associated with agriculture and even healing in some traditions, and the other is thought to be an image of Kane, god of sunlight, fresh water, and forests. The Kane statue was unearthed in 1909, while the statue of Ku is believed to have come from the heiau of Kamehameha the Great himself. Now, please forgive me if I mispronounce this name a little bit, but one of the more interesting effigies down on the ground floor in the Bishop Museum is Kanai Kokala, a stone carving that was unearthed in 1906 and donated to the Bishop Museum. The image, or ki'i, was discovered after a native-born Hawaiian was guided to its burial site in his dreams. According to his account, the statue called to him to rescue it from the cold darkness in which it was buried. Once Kanai Kokala was set into the floor of the Hawaiian Hall, it said the ki'i refuses to be moved. All attempts to relocate it out to the grounds outside have failed. It appears that Kanai Kokala is very happy with its current address because it has refused to budge for over 100 years. One of the more significant and spectacular artifacts on the Hawaii Hall's ground floor is a model of the Waha'ula Heiau. The Waha'ula Heiau was the first heiau, or sacred sacrificial temple, built in Hawaii, and it used to stand on the Big Island. Constructed on the Big Island during the 13th century, this heiau helped steer the future of the Hawaiian chiefly lines and the development of Hawaiian religious beliefs, including human sacrifice. Many heiau were lost to time, but the Waha'ula Heiau survived until a lava flow erupting from Kilauea's Pu'u'o crater covered it in 1997. Or, perhaps another way to look at the situation is that the heiau was not lost, but that the goddess Pele was simply reclaiming her land. The Waha'ula Heiau lives on in more than just memory. This model, constructed in the Hawaiian Hall in 1902, is built of lava rock taken from the heiau itself, thus ensuring something of this Hawaiian legacy can still teach the future about the past. The Pacific Hall takes visitors on a journey across the vast Pacific Ocean. Guests will get a look into the culture and history of numerous islands, including Samoa, Fiji, Tahiti, and Rapa Nui, more commonly known as Easter Island. Touring the Pacific Hall will reveal the incredible similarities between the peoples of Oceania, as well as the unique aspects each culture developed as these societies evolved. This little tour of the Bishop Museum has really just scratched the surface. There are thousands of artifacts in the Hawaiian Hall, the Pacific Hall, and the Kahili Room. I haven't even touched on other galleries such as the Art Gallery upstairs, the Planetarium, or the Science Center. And I haven't even mentioned the fact that there is usually some kind of living history program going on teaching Hawaiian culture. If you're in Honolulu, make sure you enjoy Honolulu. Like I said, the dining is amazing, the beaches are wonderful, the shopping is great. But take some time to get out of the city by finding the Bishop Museum hidden right in the middle of the city. You will get an education and a chance to connect with the Hawaiian culture that you won't get almost anywhere else. The Hawaiian people, indeed all the peoples of the Oceania area, struck out in small canoes across vast, featureless tracts of ocean and successfully colonized almost a third of this planet. Their stories are amazing and definitely stories to be told. Well, I hope you've appreciated and enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoy going to the Bishop Museum whenever I get the chance. Until we meet here again on Sparks 1524, mahalo nui loa for your time. Have a great weekend, be safe, go do some great things.